For all of you long-term viewers of my videos, you remember the 630B series that we did a couple of years ago. I guess about 3 years ago now, maybe. Anyway, we went ahead and restored the whole thing, and it looked good and sounded good. The problem was, after a while, I began to realize this thing had too much of a bass sound. When I listened to my old-time radios through it, my old-time radio shows, it had so much bass in some of them, I really couldn't even understand what the actors were saying. So I decided to rip it all apart again and change out my two tone caps. And the two tone cap values I used, I put in, the two new ones, are 0.001 and 0.005. Now why did I choose those particular values? Because that's what was in the Atwater Kent 145 that we restored. And I said, hey, if it's good enough for the Atwater Kent, it might just work for this. And that was quite a bit off from what I had in there. I had like a 0.033, and I think the other one was like a 0.01. But this is much smaller size capacitors, and I really do like the sound much better now. Now that's the high, and there's the low. And that, of course, is WSM out of Nashville. Ooh, I love coming home listening to this station. It's just the greatest. It's been a while since I played a WSM on one of my videos. Maybe I can, come back and when they have another good song on there. There we go.
I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep awake, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying as my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you.
I'm going to try a little experiment. What I have here is a whole bunch of eggshells I've been saving. And I washed each one down in the center, and then put them outside and let them dry. So they're all dry. I'm going to try to grind them up as fine as I can and put them in the garden around the tomato plants, around the dirt and everything. It's calcium, and it helps ward off what they call blossom end rot. So let's find out when I pulse it. I mean, I figured if it'll grind ice, it'll grind eggshells, right? Well, there it is. Let's go ahead and shake it out and see what we get here. A nice fine powder. Look at that. Man, that's great stuff. Little blender did the job. Son of a gun. Look at that. That'll work great around those tomatoes. And I'm going to continue to save eggshells. I wash them out, like I said. I bring them out here and let them sit in the sun. I guess I can separate these two right here a little bit more. I just let them sit out here on the table in the sun, and they dry out, and I just save them. Now, I can grind them. It should work great. I saw this on YouTube where somebody powdered them up. And I said, geez, I wonder how he did that. They never explained how they did it, of course. Anyway, a blender works. For those of you who have been keeping up with this Hoop House Garden series, I'm going to make something called compost tea. Now, many of you already know what compost tea is, but for me, it was something brand new. So this is a 5-gallon bucket of water that I have washed the bucket real good, filled it with water, let it sit for a couple days to get, ambient temperature. You don't want it cold. You want it to get to the, nice warm temperature of the surrounding area. And then I took a knee-length stocking, I don't know what they call them, knee highs, I guess, and I filled it with cotton burr compost. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick it down in that water, just like so. It's going to soak up real good. It's going to be just like a big giant tea bag in the water. That's why they call it compost tea. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie it off to the handle and just kind of let it sink down maybe to about right there. And then I'm going to put one of those fish tank air pumps, and we'll get that going down in there. I'm going to add some molasses. I'm going to add some fish emulsion kind of stuff for gardens. Now we're going to let it bubble and boil for 24 hours minimum. Probably going to wind up letting it bubble more than that. And this is going to become fertilizer, natural fertilizer for the plants. We'll show you how that's done later. But right now, let's get the tea started. The next step in this process is to take the old bag and just kind of squeeze it real good once it gets nice and saturated. Just give it a good squeeze, just manipulate it for, several minutes and get all that good, all those good microbial nutrients and crap out of there, Just really work it good, just like a big old tea bag, We're creating, basically here is a microbial slurry, only very thin, okay? Alright, and now we need to add the molasses and a little bit of fish type fertilizer, and some people even put liquid seaweed in there, but I couldn't find any, so we're just going to go with this, okay? It'll be fine. Alright, now the molasses is for the microbes to feed on, and you want to use the unsulfured kind, at least that's what I've been told. Get the natural grandma's. You get it I think I got this at Walmart. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. When you put a couple of tablespoons in there, that's plenty. It's a couple of tablespoons right there. And then the fish food I got at Lowe's. Let me open the bottle there. This stuff's pretty nasty. This 511 for the fertilizer ingredients. That would be nitrogen, phosphate and potassium, or the other way around. I forget. It's 1 and 1. Don't really matter. And we'll put 1 or 2 tablespoons of this in here too. Yeah, that's one. Just a little bit more. That's good. A couple of capfuls. All right. Now I'll go ahead and I'll mix that around. And by the way, that fish fertilizer does not smell as good as the molasses. I'll mix that around a little bit, and then we'll get the air pump going. What I did was I have a 2-outlet air pump for a for a standard old fish tank. Hook up 2 hoses. Don't block one side of this thing. Use both. If you have a 2-hose outlet, use them both. Don't block one and think you're going to get more air out of the other, because I don't think you do. Anyway, I just went ahead and tied the ends together, if I can get all my things untangled here. Wrap the string around it and put a brass fitting there. And then we'll go ahead and stick that down in there, and that'll sit like that. And I'm going to let this thing bubble away. Let me get it down to the bottom. I may have to put, no, that'll work. Okay. Now tonight, I've got an extension cord, powering up the air pump. But I'm not going to leave the extension cord through the door tonight. I'm just going to go ahead and take the whole thing in the house and let it bubble there overnight. You want about 24 hours worth of bubbling. The purpose of the bubbling is to provide oxygen for the microbes down in there. At least that's the theory about all of this. But I've never heard of compost tea till just, a month and a half ago. So everything I'm doing here today is a first, and we're going to find out if it supposedly does wonders with vegetables. We shall see. Well, that I like. It's bubbling real good, and what I'm going to do is make sure it stays down at the bottom, and it is. It's down there, and then I'm going to put this board across to kind of help keep it that way. And then we'll just kind of gently put it against there. Well, there we go. Now that should do the trick. 24 hours of bubbling away. And those double bubblers, boy, I'll tell you what, that does a whole lot. Best to do it that way, I guess, and one of the things this board will help do is keep the evaporation down also. So we'll see what it looks like 24 hours from now. And since our potatoes are coming up, our Buzz Waterloo potatoes, we're going to have to get the remainder of this cotton burr and put it in plastic bags and get it over under the hoop house. Well, we've got about 2 more hours before we stop the bubbling on our compost tea. Yeah, she's looking pretty good down in there. I don't know if the cotton burr is going to make as good a compost tea as natural compost, but we're going to find out. It looks real good, it looks pretty darn good down in there. We just kind of squeeze it up a little bit more and help it out a little bit. All the dark stuff we can get to float around down in there means more and more bacteria and the kind of microbes that's needed, supposedly, to make your garden grow. There used to be a poem about that. So-and-so and so-and-so, how's your garden grow? Can't remember that. Can't remember it all. Anyway, a couple more hours. And the old hoop house is evolving as we go. You can see I've got the wooden slats up. I've got them on this side and on that side, and that kind of supports those cords. Doesn't make it look, you know, so caved in. It's caved in enough between hoops, but those boards really help support it. And then let's go inside and see what we've done in there. Well, I needed a table to work in here with. You got to have a table, you know, especially when you're taking the potato pots, and you need to put over there in those bags is the the leftover cotton burr. You know, I'll need a place to bring the pot up and put the cotton burr around the growing plants. You know, it's just like mounding up the potatoes, you know. And it's hard for me to bend down and stay bent down for any period of time. And the old potatoes are doing real good. We're really coming up here now. Yes, we are. Yeah, every single pot is coming up. They're getting watered every day. They're going to get some of that compost tea today. Yeah, they're going to like that. This one here is really growing the best of them all, but they're getting there. Then I built a little rack, a couple of horizontal rack boards to go over the top of the bell pepper plants, because the plastic was sagging down in, and the bell pepper plants, you know, they're going to need some support anyway if they continue to grow or grow at all. I don't know. And I can just take strings and tie them from the bell pepper plants to these right here. I'm not going to let them get any higher than this. I'll just clip the tops off before I just want, if they get up around this height right here, I'll be happy. But if they get up, you know, start to go up a bit, and I have had some that, you know, did go up above this height, I'm going to clip them off. That's not going to happen. So we're getting there. The bell pepper plants are looking good. This one over here I expected not to live, and it's not going to make it, I guess. But the other 6 are doing good. We're going to have to go out and buy cucumber seedlings. All the seeds I planted, they were old seeds that my daughter had. She said they were old. They just didn't grow. I watered and watered, and they just didn't grow. Not a single one of them grew, so the seeds are just too old. So this week sometime I'll take a trip down to the nursery where I got all this compost at and see if they've got any cucumbers in yet. I'll probably give them a call before I go. And the old eggplant's doing pretty good. I haven't got any flowers planted in the middle yet. It's still early in the season. We'll take care of that. I'm going to have to get some bug killer on those leaves though pretty soon, because around here there's some bugs they'll eat up an eggplant leaf overnight. It'll look like Swiss cheese when they get done with it. So I need to spray some bug killer on there. And the old onions are looking real good. I like them. Look at those. They got a fat one already right there. A couple of fat ones, 2, 3, or 4 actually. They're coming along real good. And our lettuce is coming up great, this leaf lettuce, and our spinach. I thought I had planted something in the middle here, but apparently not. I don't know why. Maybe I was planning to plant something else. I have to think about that. Apparently it was just spinach, lettuce, with space in the middle. And the radishes are doing good, but I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know. They look good, they're up tall, and it's still early. But I think what I'm going to have this year again, for some strange reason, is a bunch of tops and no radishes. I can't figure that out. I'm going to have to, I don't know. It must be something. I mean, this is totally different dirt, totally different everything, and I just don't think we're going to have radishes. And our tomato plants are looking good. These are the beefsteaks. They're looking real good, and more beefsteaks. Back here we're starting to get a sprig of a few carrots are starting to pop up here and there, a few carrot seeds. I don't know how well they're going to do. Well, it's soup. Yes, it is. I took the stocking out that had all the compost in it, and I gave it a really good squeeze and squeezed almost every drop of, you know, that liquid goodness out of it into the water. I hope this works. I have no idea. I've never done it before. Now the trick is to get the water, the compost tea, from here into here without spilling it all over the place, so I can put it on the garden. You know, all this compost tea making and everything has made me kind of hungry to smell of that rancid fish fertilizer. Boy. So I think what I'm going to do today is make some Korean chicken barbecue. I love Korean barbecue. Now the bulgogi is the beef barbecue. I don't know what the actual name is of the chicken. I know it's got pear and apple in it. Right there you can see. But this is, you know, I've never made. This is actually for pork and chicken. Well, the chicken is frying up pretty good. Looking good, smelling good. And I added a little bit of mixed vegetables in there with it. Not a whole lot, just enough to kind of give it a little color. I may add just a little bit more to it, but not much. Well, I added the old chicken barbecue sauce to it and a little bit of soy sauce along with those vegetables, and I'm going to cook it on down now. Now this is the hot and spicy barbecue sauce for chicken and pork. So the ladies of the house will probably have to eat something else. But boy, I'll tell you, I just took a taste of it. Ooh, it tastes good, but it is hot. And it is spicy. We'll just cook it on down now till it gets rid of some of the liquid. Well, as expected, it was a little bit too hot and spicy for the ladies, but Ethan, you like it, huh? Scott likes it, right?
Good.
Yeah. What do you think, Shannon? Shannon's even tasting a little bit of it. I'm proud of her.
My tongue's on fire.
I'm proud of you. All right, let's go ahead and get some of this compost tea on there. I think the first thing I'm going to do is put them on the Buzz Waterloo potatoes here. Let me just give it a good watering. Now you can put these, on the leaves, or you can just put it down into the soil. I'm going to go ahead and just put it on the soil. You can put it in like a spray bottle, a pump up spray bottle, and just spray your leaves with it. At least that's what they tell me. We'll see what happens. I think next we'll put some on these old radishes. Incidentally, some people, they don't put it on full strength. I'm putting it on full strength for the first application. Some people take like they'll take a third, maybe a 3-to-1 mixture of the compost tea to just plain water, and they'll mix it that way in a watering can, just like I have right here. Well, I'm going to have to make modifications to the old hoop house a whole lot earlier than I expected. Last night in the rain and thunderstorm we had, boy, it took a heck of a beating. Right now I've got all the strings untied and the plastic down. I've put a hip board on the outside and screwed them in with screws. And I've also got a ridge board I've installed along the top. I'm going to put another hip board on the other side and then a second hip board between the ridge and the one on the side. So we're going to have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll have 5 boards this time, sets of lengths of boards with the screws into each hoop. And next time it rains, I hope it'll stand up. But I'll tell you what, it didn't stand up very well with the rain and thunderstorm we had last night, and that was not all that severe. Well, that's it. After it's been completely, had all the boards attached and the structure made a lot stronger. And I think it's going to be just in time because tomorrow night we're in for a big storm, a real Arkansas storm. So hopefully it'll hold up. I'm still debating whether or not to put the plastic up tomorrow morning. If I leave it like this, the wind would blow right through and it wouldn't catch much wind. So I guess it'll all depend on what the radar looks like tomorrow. So she's a lot stronger than she was. Alright, this is round number 2 for the compost tea. I'm going to be making it the same way. Only this time I'm going to use regular compost, the leaves and the twigs and stuff like that. Not the cotton burr. And we'll see how it works, what it looks like when we're done. Same process though, just like it was last time. Alright, last but not least, we'll go ahead and close this video out. It's getting to be a little bit long. Actually, it is too long. Remember my Blackstone griddle, and I told you I had a problem here with the grease. As it came down the trough, it would go up underneath and run up this way and then down on the ground, down on the deck. Well, I didn't like that at all, and I said I had a few ideas about how I could fix this. I could have maybe cut a slot here and move this affair over to where it would come further out. Someone said go ahead and put a wire down through there. Well, that's okay as long as you got grease, but we have solids as well. And then I came up with the idea, well, maybe I should just bend it down. I know a guy that might be able to do that for me. I'll just take it in. He can put the torch to it and bend it on down a little bit. And now when the grease comes off, it'll be fine. And that idea sort of came into my mind and blew out, and I got involved in other things. And I just didn't give much thought to it after that. A couple people asked me if I had solved it yet, and I said, no, not yet, but you know, we'll get to it, we'll get to it. Well, the other day, one of our good subscribers, Jero, 1971, he commented, he said, well, why don't you just bend it down? And you know, that sort of brought the subject up again of getting this. He watched the video, you know, the old video about this. And he said, just bend it down, it'll solve the problem. And that kind of refreshed my mind. You know, I really need to get going on this. Haven't done anything for a long time. And it also reminded me that, you know, bending it down is probably the best solution to this thing. So I took the whole top, the steel top, in to a friend, just like I said I would do, and he torched it and he bent it. I think the problem is going to be solved. We'll know Sunday, because I plan to cook a nice breakfast on this thing for everybody. Anyway, that's it. You know, we'll go ahead and shut this video off. Next time will be a garden update. Let everybody know what's going on. And until then, this is John.